Hi everyone, today I'm going to be colouring in this ticket and I'm going to be using my Prismacolor pencils. Now Prismacolor is not a pencil that I have lots of. I'll just show you my collection. It might look like a lot, but I've got lots of greens like this. All the greens, I've got all the green Prismas, a few old yellows in there, about 2 blues and then a selection of a few pinks. So it's going to be quite a challenge, but I have purposely chosen this picture that can have lots of green in it. So I need the stars first, I think, and I have got a couple of yellows. I have got a Jasmine and a ochre, yellow ochre, and I'm going to use the ochre, yellow ochre, I think, for doing these stars. Because it looks a nice bright yellow colour. It's quite browny, but I think it'll be good. Now, Prismacolor is a brand that I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with. I do like the smoothness and the way it blends and it becomes nice and even, but I find that they break. I know some people say they don't have any problem with breakage, but I do at times. And it does sometimes make me feel like I just want to give up with them, really. Now for this plant I'm going to use a Prussian blue. Now all of these are very blunt. I'm going to have to sharpen it, and I also feel like when I'm sharpening it I'm taking a risk because it could just go and break. And I'm going to use this Prussian green for the centres, and I'm going to colour the tips in a lighter colour. Now some of my favourite greens are in Prisma as well, so that attracts me to certain colours too, so I tend to use those a lot. But I do find also, because they're soft, they need sharpening a lot when you're doing detail, so you do have to buy them quite often, and in the UK I don't find them that cheap. I tend to buy them singly, and they're about the same price as a polychromo, which lasts a lot longer. So it really depends on what you're looking for. Now for the tips of the leaves I'm going to use the apple green. Now I tend to use these mainly when I'm doing colour alongs with Chris Chang. She uses the Prismacolor, and some of the greens there just is not an equivalent in a polychromo. I've got the full set of those. Some of them I can convert and some of them I just can't. And also at the very end of her thing that she's doing, whether it be a flower or a leaf, she tends to burnish over the top with a very light colour, and a lot of brands don't have really light colours. For this, going massively out of the line. For these, for example, you get this, which is a grey green, pale grey green, or you get this light one here, which is the sap green light, or this light one here, which is the pale sage. So they can all be used to sort of blend things in, which can be quite useful. I'm going to go with a yellowy background. I've got this yellow Chartreuse, which I bought thinking it would be a sort of greeny colour, but it's quite yellowy. I think it will really make that leaf jump out of the page. It's very neon, isn't it? I know there are neon colours in the set, so there are some neons, but to me this is very neon. I haven't had the full set or had access to it, and I don't know lots about all of the other colours. So say mainly greens, but we've got some pinks and things which we can play with as well. Now something I find with some of these is that they can get lumps of dark pigment within them. The Chartreuse is particularly bad for that, and it is my favourite colour, but occasionally it has a little scratchy bit of another pigment in it, and it can make a line like see there. I don't know if you can see, but I think that's just where I've messed up. I don't think it's the pencil, but I have found that happened to me with some other brands. That can happen with expensive as well as cheaper brands, so we mustn't let that put us off too much. Now behind the stars I think I'm going to do a green just because I've got so many, and I don't, because they're let's see, what have I got? I'm just looking at the different colours. I've got a lot to choose from, which is rather nice, but can make it difficult to know precisely which one to do. I've just found a very thin amongst them. I don't want that one. I think I'm going to go for this one. This is the grass green. It's very dark. Well, fairly dark. I'm going to try and do a darker colour around the edge and fade it a bit towards the middle where the star is. Not just because that's what we've done across this page before, but also it might make the star look like it's a bit more shiny. It might not, but we'll give it a go. Try and take the green right to the edge though. I'm really not sure whether the doing the other bits in pinks will work with all this green. I may just stick with greens and browns. There we go. Now let's have a think about this little corner piece. I'm definitely not going to do the pinks and purples. I don't think it'll work. But I do have this Jasmine, which I'm going to sharpen and do the little tiny triangles with. I actually used the Jasmine with the yellow ochre, and I'll show you the colours in a minute that I put with them to make a gold. Because when I first started learning how to do gold, I asked someone, I really can't remember who, what colours they used for gold, and they told me and I bought them. So that's one, and that's the other. No, just looking, bear with me. There we go. So they use light umber and the brown, I don't know what that is, it's sharpened off. Brown, umber, maybe it's dark, and that's light, I'm not sure. Together with the jasmine and the yellow ochre to make gold. So I'm going to use this lighter one here. This is being the light umber for this. I'm using that same technique, so fading towards the middle. Gosh, all this sunshine. I always get asked when I see people or speak to them on the telephone, what have you been? Have you been out today in the sunshine? Like, no, I've been inside colouring and working. So much more fun. I'm not a big sunshiny person anyway. I'm not keen on the sun. I prefer to go out when it's not so sunny. I'm just sharpening this one. This is this one. I'll look it up and write the name in the description. I'm sure I can find it somewhere easily enough. I'm sorry, I should have, well, I didn't really plan. I just, as with all my videos, just made a start without properly planning and thinking about those colours. I must check the time in a minute, make sure the children aren't due to come in from school, because I have to open, they don't have a key. Well, they do have a key, they just don't use it. I'm just putting on my computer so I can see the time. Now I need to do around the edge, and I think I'm going to either go for the artichoke or the green ochre. Quite similar. I think I'm going to go for the green ochre. Oh, it's quite early yet, I don't need to worry. So I'm going to do it in the same way I've done the others, but this one's got quite a thicker edge to it than some of the others. But hopefully we'll be able to get this quite smooth. I think this is the attraction of these for a lot of people, is how smooth they are. But it was interesting, I've been using lots of different types of pencils lately, which has been fantastic fun, and I popped back to using my polychromos just for a particular picture because they just had the right colours that I needed. And it was interesting how easy they were to use because I've used them for so long, I didn't have to think about which would be the right green or blue, whatever it was, what it would look like. I already knew in my head which colour would work because I've used them for so long, and I knew exactly what technique to use with them to get them to look good. It was really interesting. But I know a lot of people like to buy the Prismas because so many people do tutorials with them. And I have had people ask me to do tutorials with Prismas, so here is one for you. But it's not something I'm going to do regularly, partly because I've got such a limited supply. But so many people do tutorials with them already. I think there's plenty out there for people to look at. Don't really need me to be doing them as well. If I can do something a bit different to everyone else, hopefully that will be more useful. And some of the Prisma tutorials are amazing, so I'm sure you can find loads. So there we go. I'm feeling that graduation of colour isn't that good there. I don't want a line. See, these are nice and smushy, so quite easy to smooth to shade, which is why I think partly why people like them. I do find you get quite a lot of colour transfer from them onto other pages, which is fine. I use a fixative to stop that. And they can be a little bit smudgy, so you have to be careful if you rub your hand over them. But there we go, I'm done with that. It looks quite dull, that colour, I think, which is a shame, but that's that. But because I was so limited with my colours, I think that's what we had to go with. But still, I hope you enjoyed that and enjoyed my whittering on about pencils. And thank you very much for watching, and happy colouring.